So after we take a PT on Saturday, how do you recommend to best review it? Do you recommend reviewing the entire thing on Saturday or breaking it up between Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah, that's a good question. It kind of depends on how well you're doing. So, someone who's scoring, just to go to an extreme, right? If you're scoring in the 170s, then you should probably be reviewing it, the entire thing that day, right? You take the test. You're not going to be as exhausted as someone who's scoring in the 150s. Maybe you take an hour break, but then you go and you don't have that many questions that you missed. You go over those, and then you maybe go over the ones that you bookmarked or flagged because you weren't sure about them. If you're scoring in the 160s, that's maybe you can only do a little bit of review. Maybe you can only do an hour, and then the next day you have to do the rest. The lower your score, the more likely you're just going to have to kick the whole thing to the next day. Sometimes people who score in the 140s, it's like they take the test and they're like, okay, I'm good. And then the next day they can start going through the ones that they got wrong, that they attempted, but they got wrong, and probably not worry about the ones that they never got to because they tend to be harder anyway. And it's just like, well, let's figure out the ones you attempted but got wrong. So I don't know where you're at, but you're probably going to be somewhere between one of those two extremes. I would do two things. I would only review the ones that you're getting wrong that you attempt, and two, I would probably take fewer full-length practice tests. If you're like forcing yourself to take the April LSAT, then in some ways you need to fit in more full-length tests. But at the same time, that's kind of a signal that maybe you shouldn't be taking it in April, right? I mean, I don't know if that's what you're planning to do, but if someone was in your situation, I'd be like, whoa, if you should be taking a test every other weekend, which it sounds like you should be, as opposed to every weekend, then probably should be shooting for June.